Hello and welcome all to this section of seed business development with lessons from Asia and Africa. In our experience, most of us focus on the management aspect for running seed production and marketing as a sustainable and profitable business. It's normally lacking. Also, private small and medium seed enterprises in developing countries often have challenges in expertise and skills in the business management aspects for running their enterprise. A viable business model, in other words, rationale of how to create, deliver, and capture value is essential for each business to survive. Basic knowledge on business model development and looking how seed production and marketing can be approached as a viable business will make intervention efforts with seed producers more sustainable and commercially viable. In the beginning, we will be looking at the aspects that help us to assess the readiness of an organization to plunge into a seed business. First of all is commitment. It means that you are willing to put your business before almost anything else. Then comes motivation. The business is more likely to succeed if you are very motivated to try your business idea and create wealth and make your money work for you. Taking risks. There is no absolutely safe business idea. You always run the risk of failure. Making decisions. You are in charge of your own business, which means that you have to make decisions that may lead to either success or failure. Important decisions cannot be postponed or passed on to someone else. Problem solving. Running your own business requires that you are able to solve problems. Ability to handle stress. The entrepreneurs are subjected to a lot of stress. Stress may be the results of either difficult decisions that must be made, dealing with stakeholders in the business, or working long hours. Goal orientation. Goal is the desired outcome or target. One feature that differentiates an entrepreneur from an employee is the ability to develop and achieve goals. You should be able to envision where your business is headed and to see the bigger picture rather than focusing on minor details. Social support. Running a business will take a lot of time and effort. It is important to have adequate support from family, friends, and other business people. Financial situation. Access to financial resources to start your business is very important. Financial resources can be accessed from your social network, including your family and finance institutions. The business model canvas is a tool for business development so that you can focus on how you could structure the business around your product in a direction of your liking. An exercise every ready business should do to blueprint the healthy running of the business. Out of the many aspects, this canvas has the value proposition in its heart and costs and revenue streams as a strong foundation. This symbolizes the philosophy that the value the business offers is at the heart, but it all runs with the money. In other words, sound financials. This is an example of a business model canvas for a small seed business who considers the supply of good quality seeds of traditional varieties as one of their value propositions. They also set their value proposition or VP in the niche status where these varieties are in demand but not sold by the bigger seed companies. You can easily see the other relevant components like the key partners, key activities, key resources, customer relationships, channels, customer segments being noted appropriately. The cost and the revenue sections has also been planned. This section is the starting point for the financial analysis for the business. Now the characteristics or the key performance indicators of a successful seed business hovers around four aspects: technical competency, market orientation, professionally organized, and strategically linked. In other words, how technically competent the employees are, how well equipped they are to produce seeds, what are the innovation and improvements they vision, what quality assurance mechanisms they imply, and what about the inventory management systems in place and similar attributes. Market orientation primarily tells us about the customer-driven value proposition. By being professionally organized refers to operational systems par excellence and being cash conscious and having a strong financial control. Strategically linked with key partners like suppliers, who provide necessary inputs into a seed company, regulators, which are the various government agencies that regulate the seed sector and business operations, supporters, which include both government and non-government agencies that are directly involved in the seed sector or with customers, like the National Extension Services, NGO projects. These KPI can be grouped as product-based, that covers the technical competency and the market orientation, and by organization, that covers the professionally organized and strategic linkages. Depending on the focus, these KPIs can have an inward and outward focus that explains how good they are internally and how good they have relations with the outside world by way of markets or linkages. Let us see some local seed business intricacies in Asia and Africa. Now, due to our immense work in these countries, we will specifically focus on the local seed businesses in Ethiopia, Uganda, and Myanmar. Talking about the typologies in their nomenclature, the seed businesses in Uganda are called LSBs or local seed business, while the seed growers in Myanmar handle small seed businesses, and in Ethiopia they are termed as the SPCs or the Seed Producing Cooperatives. In terms of legal status of there are seed laws and regulations in these countries, let us see what do they say about the small seed businesses. So the seed policy in Uganda fully recognizes the local seed businesses as a separate entity, while in Myanmar too this is the case, and the seed business licensing is not required as long as they produce below a certain volume. And these volumes are different for different crops. However, in Ethiopia, the policy on small business is a draft and it is not very clear if the SPCs are mentioned. But the National Seed Systems Development Strategy recognizes community-based seed producers and intermediary seed systems. By law and regulations in Uganda, there are regulations in COMESA or the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa. Also, the draft QDS or Quality Declared Seeds are available. The QDS is a special seed class in Uganda which are produced by the LSBs under their own quality control and slight intervention from the formal seed certification centers. In the Myanmar seed regulations, explicit mentions of these seed growers are also mentioned. However, for Ethiopia, there are no mention of seed producing cooperatives, but there are certain guidelines on QDS and Certificate of Competence or COC, they are mentioned. Now we will talk about the seed producing cooperatives in Ethiopia. We will now analyze these three countries briefly on some attributes: the domain, organization, seed quality, and seed dissemination. In Ethiopia, the domain of seed producers is informal, also called the intermediary system. This system is now also recognized in the Ethiopian National Seed System Strategy. There is also a private domain for private seed producers or PSPs, civil society domain for seed producer cooperatives or SPCs, but many times the SPCs can also be considered as private. In terms of organization, these SPCs are farmers' organization. The regulation has some mention of multi-purpose cooperatives or MPCs, which is a kind of an own seed program. So normally the SPCs have 50 to 100 member seed producers. The PSPs or the private seed producers are individual entrepreneurs or similar to small and medium enterprises or SMEs. All of these businesses must have a COC or a Certificate of Competence for seed production, seed distribution and retail, or all of these. To get a COC, you need to have an agronomist on board, and there are many such requirements. In terms of seed quality, the seed producing cooperatives multiply seeds of classes of certified first generation till the certified seed third generation. They have internal quality control through quality control subcommittee. There are also provisions for local quality assured seed where the quality assurance is done through district offices of agriculture or the DOAs with local inspection and local seed lab testing. However, sometimes they may be fully certified. The dissemination aspect many times might have some gray areas, but in practice, dissemination via cooperative directly to farmers accounts for 30 to 35% of the volumes. Some happens via the popular channel of cooperative to union, which is almost 50 to 60% of the volumes, and the rest happens via cooperative to non-contractual institutional buyers. The crops and varieties that are dealt with are quite obvious, and they comprise of food and cash crops with local demand and has cereals, legumes, potatoes, oilseeds, fodder crops and spices. These Ethiopian seed producing cooperatives deal with improved varieties of self-pollinated crops. Previously there used to be hybrid maize seed production too, but not anymore. They have the institutional support for early generation seed from the National Agriculture Research System or the NARS, and institutional buyers, unions, DOAs, Bureau of Agriculture, Agricultural Transformation Agency or ATAs, ISSD program and their projects. Now, we talk briefly about the Myanmar seed growers. Domain-wise, they are informal but with link to the public sector. This link with the government is primarily for EGS and seed quality assurance. Organization-wise, these individual seed producers have preference to work individually. Many programs are currently exploring how to organize them into working groups. The number of members within a group are at least 7 and at the most 18. Seed quality assurance is in the form of own quality control. There is a new system or the PGS or the Participatory Guarantee System that is piloted by the Department of Cooperative, which relies on peer group field inspections which are partially audited by the seed inspectors of the Department of Agriculture. The basic challenge here is that the government certification system is quite understaffed to give everyone access to quality assurance services. Well, dissemination is in the form of seed sales to individual farmers, which is around 80%. The sales to seed companies and agro dealers, which are also around 10% each. Talking about crops, they deal with food and cash crops like rice, green gram, black gram, chickpea, pigeon pea, groundnut, sesame, with improved varieties of public breeding programs. Some local varieties also are there, but no hybrids. They get institutional support from the Integrated Seed Sector Development Project, who also facilitate linkages with the government seed farms for registered seed, quality assurance, input management, marketing strategy, with linkages with the private sector and similar activities. Now we come to how the LSVs or the local seed businesses are organized in Uganda. So their basic domain is informal or intermediary, with seed production happening at the community level. Their organization comprises mostly of registered farmer groups with 20 to 40 members and with land size somewhere around 5 to 100 acres per group. The committees for quality control, production, marketing, associations are of 30 to 50 members who are at the district level. There are some cooperatives with higher number of members in which more than members may produce seed for other cooperative members. Seed quality is assured by the Quality Declared Seed or the QDS system, which is a decentralized quality assurance form in the Ministry of Agriculture or MAIF to district agriculture offices. Breeders closely supervise EGS foundation seed production, which is also inspected by the ministry experts, having external field inspection at least two times per field per season, with random seed sampling and testing of farmers' fields. QTS is now approved as seed class in the seed policy. And dissemination is handled through local exchange from LSVs to farmers, from LSVs to NGOs and commercial farmers. Seed promotion is done through seed fairs, weekly village markets. Seeds sold from stores often have small seed packages of 1, 2, 3, 5 or 10 kilograms. The marketing strategy often calls for small packs for selling, competitive pricing which are lower than the domestic companies. The crops that are handled are food and cash crops with cereals like rice, millets, sorghum, Irish potato, sweet potato, cassava, with legumes and oilseeds. Mostly improved varieties and a few land races are dealt with. In Uganda, the LSVs or the local seed businesses get institutional support from the National Agriculture Research Organization, the NARO, with the Zonal Agriculture Research Development Institute or the ZARDIs, The district local government also extends support along with many outscaling partners. Many microfinance support centers which are a part of the ministry are also extending financial support. There are many other concerns for the LSBs in Uganda, like problems with climate change, delayed rains, long marketing cycle versus pressing needs, and the LSBs are weighed under the need for cash. Sometimes problems in getting access to local seed inspection services, problems with EGS access due to distances and availability. A wholesome attitude change is also required, like to wait for the appropriate moment to sell. Although different in setup and context, the LSBs in the different countries face many common challenges. The LSBs are normally capital constrained. The LSBs receive institutional support which they partly pay for themselves. LSBs also operate as individuals and groups. These groups are informal groups, associations and cooperatives. The scale of operation of LSBs is on average 10 to 100 acres. The niche of the LSBs is the focus on less invested upon crops. Cost of productions are low, which means own labor. They market locally with limited value addition. LSBs are different from community-based seed production by their business orientation. Producing seed is their core business and they sell directly to farmers or institutional buyers. The LSBs are dependent on input and output market, and so they are very vulnerable. So those were the key conclusions of this session. So summing up, we learned about seed businesses and business models and the KPIs, or the key performance indicators. We also learned about the local seed businesses of certain countries and how their operations and organizations are so much context specific. They have common challenges and how a good planning and strong commitment is necessary to enhance the great work that they are already doing. Thank you.